Hi there, welcome to Superhero Movie Review Time mini spoiler review. Very clear, this is The Last Jedi with spoilers. I'm going to try to keep it as brief as possible. However, I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to recognise that in this corner up here should be a red X, right? And down here there should be a pause button, and along here there should be a list of other videos. If you do not want any spoilers for The Last Jedi, click any one of these to stop this video from playing, okay? I'm going to give you a brief moment to remember all that, okay? Lovely. So, I know it's not quite Last Jedi, but going into it, I was buzzing. Right, really, really buzzing. And then I had to sit through 55 minutes worth of trailers and adverts. Yeah, I left here this morning at 9:30 in the morning for the 10 o'clock showing. It's a 15-minute walk over to the cinema, bear in mind, right? I've got home, right, and did the end part, which took 5 minutes, and I'm doing my spoiler one, and the time is now 2:10. Been away for 3 and a bit hours, right? And yeah, majority of it was the film, but 55 minutes of trailers and adverts can fuck off. Right, I digress. Now let's start the movie. I've got written down here a few bits and pieces that I've picked up for the film that just A, made me go, that was amazing, and B, made me go, that was horrific. So, as per my usual show, I'm going to give you the bad stuff first, okay? And once again, these are spoilers. So if you do not want spoilers, get the fuck out of here, okay? These are people who've seen the movie and want to see other people's opinions, which I'm grateful for, by the way, thank you. So, one of the things I truly, truly hated about here was Leia's revival. So when she's on the ship and it gets shot at and you think she's dead. And I sat there and went, wow, they killed her off really quickly. And then I thought in my head, maybe it's because Carrie Fisher died and they didn't want to drag it on forever, so they cut the performance short and it was a quick, dignified, solemn end. And I thought, you know, that's not bad. That's really not bad at all way to kill off this character. You know, she didn't go down in a hail of gunfire, which would have been completely against their character. You know, she went down, you know, fighting the good fight in her own way. And then they brought her back to life. No. No, no, no. And it's the way they did it as well. Like, when you see the hand twitch, I was like, alright, okay. Then the eye flutters open, and then she, like an angel, she glides back into the ship, surviving on whatever force-filled oxygen she made with the Force. And yes, I know she's got the Force ability in her, like a Jedi. No, I'm calling bollocks. I'm sorry, it didn't work for me. I could honestly have taken a Guardians of the Galaxy approach if Kylo Ren had swooped in and saved her because he hesitated in killing her. I can understand that. It'd been a cheap one, but I could understand it. This, however, I'm a bit like, come on. And then she's written out for, you know, a third of the movie being in a coma, only to come back at the end. And yeah, when she did come back, it was pretty awesome. But really? Like, really? That's the direction the show went to go in, and they've now no longer got a chance to continue with her Force abilities because Carrie Fisher's now dead. What are they going to do in the third one? I'm going to assume the third one's going to start off with Princess Leia's funeral. That's how I'm just going to assume the film's going to start off. But I'm not getting the whole revival thing. It irked me. Another thing that got me, and this one is very nitpicky, so I do apologise, but it made me go, come on. Because if you watch the other video, you know that I really didn't want it to be a shot-for-shot remake of Empire Strikes Back. So we get this final standoff, and you've got the Rebel Alliance hidden behind the big blast doors, and you know the First Order's closing in on them. And one of the guardsmen goes, salt. Basically, they're trying to say they're not on Hoth. Really? Couldn't they just have that battle scene in a jungle planet, maybe? Or a sand planet? I know Tatooine and Jakku, but they could have taken any other snow. They could have held it on, like, the ruins of Coruscant, for example. Oh, that would have been a blowback to, like, you know, the much-hated prequels, you know? It'd have been fucking brilliant. But they decided to go for, you know, white substance that looks like snow, and it turns out it's actually ice. And yeah, it's impressive how all the red stuff gets kicked up in the air, but I'm sitting there going, I know I'm nitpicking, but fuck me, that was annoying. Anyway, I'm going to brush over that one because that was a minor annoyance to myself. Next on my list here, I've got, yeah, Yoda makes an appearance in this film. And when you see the ears in like the ghostly silhouette, I'm like, Yoda! And then they CGI'd him. Oh my god, I literally sat there in the cinema and did this. I went, fuck are you doing? What? Thankfully, they realised their mistake and then replaced the CGI with the puppet, and Frank Oz returns and does the voice, which is fantastic. But the fact still remains, why the fuck did you CGI Yoda like that? In the prequels, when they CGI'd him, yeah, it looked, but you got used to it. You know, by the third one, you didn't really care as much because it worked for the fight scene against Sidious. In this one, it looked like a Toys R Us bullshit thing. And, oh god, I hated it. I was sitting there fucking shaking. And then, for some reason, they then stop the CGI and then bring out the puppet, and then they carry on from there. And that confused the fuck out of me. And I'm angry over a puppet. This is what Star Wars does to me, people. I get so emotional over such little shit. But the point still remains. It looked crap and it should have been nowhere near this movie. They could have kept that puppet there for the entirety and people would have gone, Yoda, there it is. But no, they started off with a shitty CGI puppet and it pissed me off. Moving on. What's I got here? Yeah, another one that really got on my notes, I actually mentioned this in the non-spoiler review, was Finn's storyline. One of the best things about Force Awakens was Finn. I thought he was brilliant. Like, you know, the black actor caused all this controversy, kind of a black stormtrooper. No, this character brought something new and something energetic, and I loved it. And it was very, very intriguing to watch. In this one, they've clearly gone, what do we do with him now? Anything but this. Honestly, like, he has to go onto this planet to find a code hacker and gets caught up in Star Wars Las Vegas, and it is so ridiculous. And this is where all the whimsical shit comes into it, and then they do this like half-hearted attempt of breaking out of a prison. They set all these fucking alien horse camels loop free, and oh god, it dragged on, and it was like, there's so much more important shit going on in this movie that I don't want to pay attention to Finn's story because it was just boring. And it ended up being such a typical double cross after double cross, and you're sitting there going, come on now. I'm just not buying it now. I'm bored. And it really annoys me because he's such a good actor, and I wish I could remember his goddamn name, so I'm sorry about the actor, I'll put you in the credits. But that being said, I hope when the third, or number 9 comes out, they give Finn the respect he deserves, because his side storyline was shite. Next up, and you know, I'm tossing up whether to say this one's number 1 or this one's number 1, and I've got 3 left here. And okay, next is probably the ending of the film. You know, Luke confronts Kylo Ren, and they have their fight. And if you have seen the film, if you haven't seen the film and are watching this spoiler thing, what are you doing with your life? Seriously, ask yourself that question right now. What are you doing? So, this ending, you've got Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker, and they're gearing up to have their lightsaber battle. And no matter how much, you know, Kylo tries, he cannot land a touch on Skywalker, and it looks like he's finally cut him in half. And I'm sitting there going, oh, I hope they don't do the Obi-Wan Kenobi thing where the cloak just drops. Worse, he's just force projected himself onto every single person there, right? Confusing enough as that is. So then all their attention is diverted on him so the rebels can escape. Sound plan, but that's got to take a lot of energy, and lo and behold, it does take a lot of energy, because then he does just die after looking at the sun, and the cloak does disappear, and I'm like, really? That's your ending? And then even worse, it doesn't even end there. We then find these kids that was on that Las Vegas planet, and they're like, Luke Skywalker, Jedi Master, hero, like with their toys and shit. And then one kid looks up to the skies and sees the Falcon go off into like light speed, and you're like, oh god, this is like Spielberg shit. This is like Spielberg's whimsical jizz stretched all over this ending, because it wouldn't end until it made you sit there and absorb this whimsical crap. And that's what grated me. So I've got 2 more now. And I'm still deciding which one annoyed me the most. I'm going to go with this one annoyed me the least out of the two. Snoke. Yep. All that build-up, that huge, gigantic hologram from The Force Awakens. And then you see him in person and you go, okay, it's already different. Like, really, really different from the hologram. Like, I'm already now less impressed. But go on. And he's like, almost reenacting from Return of the Jedi, the whole, you will join me and you will kill him and I'm the puppet master. And then he dies. Yeah. Gah! All this internet fandom for the last 2 years of people going, oh, he could be Jar Jar Binks, he could be Emperor Palpatine's back from the grave, he could be fucking Jar Jar Binks of all fucking people, you know? And I'm sitting there going, I would rather Snoke just be Snoke. You know, like there's this huge thing that he was going to be Plagueis back from the dead. And I'm like, okay, that's got a lot of traction. But once again, I would rather he just be Snoke. I am regretting these words right now. I would much rather this character have been Plagueis to give him some form of, you know, reason. Because let's face it, in the first one, he was this secret, dark, cloaked figure. You know, who could he be? He could be anyone. He's pulling all the strings and he's a master criminal genius and all this other amazing shit. And this one, Kylo Ren sort of just like fingers the air a little bit and then the lightsaber turns and kills him. It's a pretty gruesome death, I'll give it that, and it sets up a really cool fight scene straight afterwards. But what the fuck was the plan with Snoke? Seriously, what are you doing? You had the epitome of the Emperor again, which you could have taken that in a whole new different direction, and you didn't. You know? I'm not saying like traditionalists should stick to the same tried and tested stuff, but give us something different, please. Yep, and a lot of people are probably going to say to me, really, you were concerned by this as your main problem? And I would say this is, right here, this is my main problem with this film. It's the side character Rose. Who gives a shit? Seriously. So you got this, like her sister gets killed at the start of the movie, and then you see that she's their sisters because they've got the same medallion thing. You put them together, makes one. Oh, that's quite nice. And all she did was feed into this whimsical bullshit. And the one thing that fucked me off the most. Finn's on a suicide mission. And I was there going, oh, that'd be such a shame to kill off such a cool character. And a part of me's like, he was really shit in this film. Go ahead, go and kill yourself, buddy. Go on, you got this. And then she smashes into his ship somehow without getting shot. Bear in mind, she's now turned about face and then flew across the enemy line. And all of them were just like, Dave, watch this. It didn't make sense. So she crashes into his ship to stop him from killing himself, allowing them to use the cannon to break open the rebel base, and then they're going to kill the rebels. Well done there, love. Save one guy to kill another 20. And then it looks like she dies. And it's like, oh great, so not only did you sacrifice yourself and then risk it or whatever, and then it just went on and on and on. And then the rest of the fleet are distracted by, Luke Skywalker arriving, and then Finn somehow manages not to get shot and drag her lifeless carcass back to base, and the bitch ain't even dead! Oh, she's still fucking going and breathing, and fuck you! I have no attachment to this character. I honestly was sitting there going, she's cannon bait, she's cannon fodder, she's going to die, her gravestone has been marked, the grave has been dug, put the fucker in it, and they kept her alive! Now I'm going to bring it down a bit. Now I'm going to give you the things I actually really did enjoy about this movie. And the first one was the feeling of despair from the Rebel Alliance, that everything was going against them. They lost so many numbers, and they're down to about 20 people. That's how bad the Rebel Alliance is right now, or Resistance, whatever they want to call themselves. And honestly, this was like an emo's wet dream. There was no hope, man. It was like, it really gripped you about how fucked they truly are. Next up, I'm probably going to say Luke. Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill's return to the big screen in a big way. And honestly, after the fucking amazing cliffhanger of the lightsaber being held towards him, and he's staring there in all seriousness, And the start of this film, he takes the lightsaber and throws it over his shoulder. Brilliant. Honestly, of all the things I thought this film was going to go, I thought they were going to go back to them and they'll be like halfway through their training exercise and that all the greetings have been done and all that other bollocks has been covered in like in the post sort of bollocks, you know. But they decided to continue exactly where they left off, and I quite liked it, you know. Like they showed the pair of them constantly butting heads. I'm not going to help you, but I need help. You know, it was a typical but very, very engaging storyline, and Mark Hamill was brilliant. And I've not seen, but I've heard he really didn't like the way this film went. I do kind of agree with him. I still enjoyed it, but I do agree with him. Next up, the opening. Yeah, the opening sequence. Oh my days, I was sitting there absorbed. As soon as that, the hairs on my arm were sticking up, I was goosebumps all over, I was loving it. And then we get this like space battle started off by Poe and BB-8, and like their chemistry, like a guy in a fucking remote controlled toy, was brilliant. Like there's real chemistry between the pair of them, which was great. And they have this like they're back and forth, and they take out all these cannons, and there's this huge spaceship scene. And I'm like, yes, this is brilliant. This is a great way to start the movie. Unfortunately, it just didn't continue that same momentum. Last couple now. Poe in general. He got a lot more screen time than in Force Awakens, and Oscar Isaac did a fantastic job. Him and Carrie Fisher had a real good back and forth, and it's a shame we're not going to get any more of that. But yeah, his storyline and everything he did was fantastic. You know, he really did capture the whole Flyboy essence. See, the other thing that doesn't annoy me, but it's a route I thought they could go down is, what if Poe and Kylo Ren are brothers? Because in the Star Wars fandom, Han and Leia had two sons. And I remember reading the opening credits of The Force Awakens, and it said like, they're sending their most talented pilot into the fray. And I remember someone saying to me, Ben Solo will be in the film, and I gave him a fucking backhand because I didn't want to know that. And I was thinking, maybe this is Ben Solo. You know, think about it this way: he's dashing, good-looking like Harrison Ford, and he's also very, very good at flying, much like Luke and Anakin before him. Maybe his, you know, uncle and whatnot and grandfather. And you know, it would just make a lot of sense if he was the son. And then it turned out he's Poe Dameron, I think his full name. I think it'd be a really interesting turn if like the big reveal that everyone was looking for wasn't who is Rey or who is Snoke, but Poe ends up being Kylo's brother. A non-Force user, but he's still there in the mix. I think that would be a really good turn. However, I think they're going to stick to what they've got at the moment. Ask questions, never answer them. And I'd say the best thing about this movie, country mile best thing about this movie, is the connection between Rey and Kylo Ren. Their absolute hatred towards each other, which then almost blossoms into not a romance, but a definite respect and connection, to the point where they're like back to back, lightsabers in hand, taking down the guards, and oh, it was such a cool fight scene. I really, really got invested. And it was like that one shimmering moment of hope of maybe, just maybe, everything's saved. And Kylo's like, just let it die. And it was amazing. Honestly, truly fell in love with their chemistry. And one thing that did keep distracting me, I'm so glad they didn't go down the route, but when he held out the hand and was like, join me, you know, join me in taking over the world, we can rule the galaxy. I'm sitting there going, he's going to say it as brother and sister, as brother and sister, as brother, and they didn't. And I'm like, yes, they didn't go for the fucking obvious, and that is what I loved. I have really dragged this video on, and I would go into more things that annoyed me, like the lack of Chewbacca and a lot of the little alien things that were there to sell the toys, but they didn't really have enough impact on the storyline. And let's face it, without Han Solo in the original trilogy, Chewie's fine. Chewie's one of my all-time favourites, but without Han, he would have done exactly the same in those movies as he did in this one. He is the peripheral muscle in the background. He could have got more involved in some of the fight scenes maybe, but I'm glad what they did with him. So yeah, I'm going to call that time now on the review. A meaty 20 minutes. Have yourself a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I think this is probably going to be my last video of the year until the Spider-Man review is ready. So until then, take care now.